Alright, so this is going to be a bush show coming up. I'll put a couple big bushes. I'll do like smaller ones off in the distance. You can see scale. I'll do a larger one in the foreground so you can see that as well. Okay, I'll do the background one first because that's the fastest one, obviously. It's smaller. I'll use a small bright brush at first, about like that size. When I'm doing that, I'll start with a darker base. I'll add some highlights to it. Bushes don't have to be the same green as anything else. Could be a little bit lighter or saturated green. So I'm using permanent green and black. So back here, I'll do like a small one on the other side of this little field. A little more black still. I'll start with kind of a bigger brush. Then I'll get smaller and smaller. The main thing is a flat bottom though. So you want a flat bottom when you're doing bushes or shrubs. And then this is like how to do a small bush further away for texture. And the shape of it, really important as well. You don't want like a bush ball. Follow the reference for the actual shape. I'll come up here a little bit. I also like to blur out the bottom. So if you blur out the bottom a little bit with your finger, it'll smooth it out and make it look a lot better. Okay, so then after I have that part done, that's a base coat. That's done. I told you this is fast. And then you can almost leave that just further away. Now I'll take another brush, a smaller round brush, and with that, if you want to add some branches to it, add some more detail, looks a lot better. So watch this. Here it goes. Super skinny little branch. You barely see it. Maybe I'll make it a little thicker so you guys can see it. At home on TV land. I'll add a little more water to it. Skinny line. Boop. Little twiglets. See little twiglets? Like a dead branch. I'll do the same thing on this side. Just a few, so it's not just leaves. So those little the dead branches really help make it look realistic. All right, now I'm ready for some leaves. A little spray action. Okay, with leaves, even though it's really far back, use a small brush, just the tip. Oh, there we go. Just the tip of it, squeezed it tight. I'll come in here. Watch this, here it goes. Small leaves, it just kind of hit the brush a little bit. So it's like tap, tap, tap. A few little leaves, see that? 3 taps. Same thing over here. Tap, 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 tap. And so all I did is add like 6 or 7 leaves. And all of a sudden, you're starting to get a shrub. Okay, so those are done. Now I'll come in with a highlight. Highlight color is green, a little bit of green action. Tint of it. And a little bit of that. Okay. Maybe yellow ochre. It's not too green. And with that, I'll do the same leaf process. Like this part, it sticks out a little bit, so I'm gonna go like here. Could use a little more contrast, but that's okay. A few little leaves, and take your finger, and then tap. Just a little bit. Okay. That one's done. I'll sit back so you can see the actual size. It's a little shrub in the background. Notice the weird shape. Oh, it's not like all perfectly round and solid. You really want to finish your background first though. Let me see through the gaps. It'll look a little bit better. Okay, larger one follows the same thing, except you start with branches on the entire thing. So I'll come up here. I'll start with branches for the entire shrub. You can Google like shrubs without leaves, dead shrubs, and shrubs. They don't have like one trunk. another one right here. Like they come out a little bit more often. Another one here coming down. Further away there as well. This is a slightly different technique. Ooh, maybe I'll give it blossoms. All right. Okay. That's my basic structure. You could leave it like that so it's a dead plant, but we're not going to. I can't remind you guys enough. Watching these shows will make you a lot better. On your own, you could paint a shrub, sure, but it would take you like twice as long. And it won't look as good. To learn the tricks, techniques, but not common sense. Okay, now I do like Scumble. Come in here with, maybe I'll make it a little lighter. Lighter because of the contrast, because the background's really dark. Maybe some yellowish leaves. And white. Okay, so this plant, I'll add in some like bright leaves, but then I'll add Scumble in sections. So like right here, this is all kind of like one big blob. One blob over here. I'll start with the blob. So I'm covering a lot of the branches, but not all of them. And a little hard to see because of the contrast issue. Go a little bit darker here. I should have had a lighter background. Not well thought out, Stevens. Okay. And with the shrubs, I would have the leaves come all the way down to the bottom, pretty much. Otherwise, it'll look like trees. Okay, basic structure. Now I'll come in with the tint of it. Adding white. Tint of the leaves. I'll blob them on there. A little more rounded leaf this time. And they start off as dots. And all you have to do to get rid of the dots, barely tap it with your finger. And here, same thing. Change color a little bit, get a little more brown. Sure. Some larger leaves over here. And leaves on bushes, they don't stick straight up. They kind of like tear down a little bit. Could have gone larger, I guess. Okay. That's the basics of it. Then down here on the bottom, make it look like it's in the ground. You could add some like little leaves and stuff down here on the bottom as well. Or another weed. Okay, I'll show you another example here. One more.